YouTube, how you doing, Earthlings? Welcome to part 9. I think my memory is absolutely shot away. I just looked like literally 15 seconds ago to see what part it was. Got here, turned the camera on, and I'd forgotten. Anyway, part 9. Yeah, it is part 9 of my AIRFIX versus Revell build off. Right, as you can see, I've built all the parts I can do on the external fuel tanks. I've got a little bit of plastic missing on here, unfortunately, from my second-hand model. It's a little tube that goes from here and fits into the side of this one. I don't know if I'm going to bother to try and replace it or not. Probably not. Or maybe, I don't know yet. I haven't made my decision yet. But you might notice that I've tried to do the ribs on this tank with these little plastic sticks that I had. With most of them are straight. Some of them are straight. But anyway, I love how all of these tubes and these pipes, they all fit really well into the. Well, they do, but they do eventually. Even though that one appears to have moved quite a bit, but they will do eventually. I think I'm going to have to be gluing these because I've tried to do a. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to see. But they do all fit in there. Eventually, just push this one into place. Come on. There we are. I think that's really good how they've done that. See that on there. Unfortunately, it appears that when they are all fitted, this bit isn't quite vertical, but it's good enough for me. It doesn't kind of just stay on there. Oh, it does stay on there. Okay. Well, that's even better than I thought then. Very good. So this is going to be, once I remove the rest of these lengths of bits of plastic stick, that'll go to have a thin layer of white on it, just so I can see the discrepancies in my painting. As I've done on here, I've kind of tried to rub this down after doing a bit of white. The black I had on the windows, I've decided I've got to just gloss over that with some darker grey, darker than the surrounding black of the window frames. The window frames on the actual shuttle, they're raised a bit away from the window. I don't quite know how I'm going to do that, or whether I'm going to do it at all. I think I'm just going to have to leave that. I've tried to fill around the windows a bit, so it's basically all just going to be sprayed white. All of it's going to be white, and then I can start doing the detail that I want to do. I haven't decided yet whether I'm still going to do the blankets around here. I may well do. I've done the same on the Revell one. I haven't added any more putty to that yet to fill in all the bits that are still wrong on it. I still really don't know what I think I might end up just putting a plastic strip down here just to try and fill that gap, because it's so annoying. I decided in my external fuel tank that the Revell one wins because they have the ribs up here and they're flush with the rest of the tank, unlike the AIRFIX one which sticks out. But the detail here is far less intricate, and also I found that the shuttle doesn't actually fit on here very well. I've had to sort of shave off the insides of these bits here to get it to fit. and then when it does actually fit, I've got to drill the hole out in the front here as well. It's not going to stay on there, so that's going to have to be glued in place. And I've started spraying the external, the solid rocket boosters. That one's been sprayed, that one hasn't. Just once again, just so I can see where I still need to fill with putty. And the same with the AIRFIX ones. They come out quite good, but I still need some little areas to fill some of the depressions where the moulding hasn't gone quite as well as it should have done. And so yeah, that's it. That's as far as I've got so far. Oh yes, also I built the launch pad for the Revel Launch Pad. I had to do a fair amount of adjustment to the tracks here. They're sort of bulged up in the middle. There's quite a lot of flashing, so I've rubbed them down with a file and tried to sort of flatten off each of the treads a bit more to make it look like they're actually, instead of just being round, they're actual treads on the launch pad. And also, when you fit them on, they're really close to each other, whereas actually in actual fact there's quite a bit of gubbins that goes on in between the tracks that I think, because this is an independent thing from the launch pad, and I think in fact this probably should be down here, because the crawler sort of carries all the launch pad and then it detaches itself and then pulls itself away, and then the launch pad is the only thing that's left behind. So this is actually should be a completely separate thing. There's lots more detail around here. There's all sort of gantries and stairs, and there's there's fences all the way around the launch pad areas, and also these bits here that hold the shuttle up. They're just completely wrong. So they're going to be gotten rid of. And I have these two things here which were from a smaller shuttle model that I have, like a toy, and so I'm going to try and replicate these with make some moulds and replace those nonsense things with something that actually looks like it's on the launch pad, and they're really quite nice things. So that's what I've got planned for that. I want to try and make it look quite, as realistic as possible. So I think I'm going to have one of the space shuttles on the launch pad. Also, I've had an idea that was given to me by a neighbour, and he saw a Saturn V with all the smoke plume coming out of the bottom of it and loads of LED lights in it. It's basically a lamp. It's quite tall and plume. So I was thinking maybe for the one on the launch pad, I could have wires suspended up inside the shuttle holding the boosters quite far away, and have loads of cotton wool and loads of LEDs inside the cotton wool, and spray it slightly and make it look like it's just taking off, which I think would be really good. And then maybe have the Columbia with a big plume of flame coming out the back of the solid rocket boosters, and then some lights up inside the three main engines, and have that sort of like it's flying along. And I might just do a tester on the Moonraker doing that. I don't know yet. Yeah, I don't know. That's something worth thinking about. So yeah, they're kind of coming on. I've got lots of filler work to do around the windows here, just so the transfers fit snugly on there, and around the top hatches here. They're just windows really. They're not used as escape hatches on the Atlantis. They were on the Columbia, which will still yeah, basically it's just lots of filling and rubbing down and spraying, and then filling and rubbing down and spraying and filling and rubbing down and spraying. I think next video I'll show you when I get to the masking off stage of what the paint job's going to be. So they are going to be different, quite noticeably different from the Atlantis to the Columbia, or Columbia to Atlantis I should say. And the solid rocket fuel tanks, the external tank and the solid rocket boosters have different markings on as well. This one's going to be white, that's going to be orange. I'll have to find a way of making some nice rough surface on the fuel tanks. I may well sort of even go to as far as sort of mixing in some sand with some white paint and orange paint and just painting that on, see if that looks any good. I haven't got an airbrush or a way of spraying on a roughened surface, but I don't know. And also I've made a bit of a boo-boo as well, making all of these. Well, this is how the orbital manoeuvring thrusters are in the AIRFIX model, but I've drilled these ones out, and if I'm having these on the boosters and the fuel tank, then these should actually be covered with a little grey sheet of paper, I think it is, that sort of protects them and stops birds nesting in them and that when it's sitting on the launch pad. And they only get blown out when they actually start getting used again, so me drilling out all these holes is just a bit silly really, but I've done it, and I'm not going to be starting to fill them up again now, I don't think. Yeah, so there they are. Got to be very careful of all of these very thin bits of plastic, but unlike the Moonraker, they're not brittle, they're just thin, and I've got to be careful with them. The Moonraker one has got the clear cast resin, very thin bits, and I'll keep breaking those, so I'm having to glue them back on again and reinforcing them with super glue. But yeah, anyway, so I'm just going to get on to filling and painting and rubbing down and filling, painting and rubbing down and filling and rubbing down and painting and rubbing down and filling and rubbing down, I should say. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this little video. Hope you get some ideas from what I'm doing, what not to do and what to do, and please leave some feedback. Anyway, take care and be careful out there. Goodbye.